less. What's wrong with that? Well, we provide political opinions that help Texas. Opinions of the settlers there. How the Mexicans felt about this.
Excellent. There are also the comments of the senator from Georgia, James Tucker.
In the 1820s, I received word of a fertile land largely unsettled, where slavery was allowed. Naturally, I saw this as a great opportunity. I spoke it over with my wife, and we decided to make our way out west. And we weren't alone either. Many people I knew were heading out that way too. We didn't live a very complex life, so it was easy for us to pack up and go. Since we've arrived, though, things haven't gone as I've hoped. The language spoken here is nothing like I've ever heard before, and their customs are very strange. It seems like their system of government's always changing too. It's nothing like back in America where life was nice and simple. It's like every week there are disputes within the government about taxes and representation. These disputes aren't the only problems either, oh no. Lately the government's been talking about outlawing slavery, and this might be the final straw for many settlers like myself. This definitely is not what I had in mind when I first decided to leave Georgia. Me and my family were happy there, so of course we thought we'd be happy here. Sure, the land is good for growing, but the instability of the government is just overwhelming. I feel constantly uneasy, and sometimes even feel scared. And like I said before, with the chances of slavery being outlawed, things can only get worse. It'd be near impossible to go from a life on a plantation based around slave labor to a farm with nobody to care for it but me. It's thoughts like these that I'm sure are in the minds of many settlers like myself. And for these same reasons, I got a strange feeling that things are gonna go bad.
What interesting footage, Greg. It seems like the Mexican government was enticing the American settlers to go into Texas to help their own economy due to their being a relatively young nation. But when the Americans arrived, they were welcomed by an unstable government, a confusing language, and a radically different culture.
It's a very solid point, my friend, and I agree wholeheartedly. Presently, we have some footage of a man named Jose Mas.
Oh, right. The Mexican fellow who lived in the vicinity of those American settlers.
The whites at first. We offered them vast amounts of land. You see, our land is very fertile, but the house planters brought in their slaves. Our government prohibited the slaves, but the Union people, they revolted. But anyways, they began to despise us. They insulted our language and custom. A common way they insulted our language was that old to everything. They also tried to make fun of us with their disgusting democracy. It was revolting. How dare they insult our hosts like this? They viewed us as inferior. It was so bad. After all, we gave them land. But anyways, they revolted over taxation and representation. Things became bad. The original idea of letting them in, no good. We tried to stop them from coming in, but bad things became bad anyways.
Fascinating.
I have to agree. So, Krishna, from what it looks like, Mexicans were actually quite alright with the initial way the Americans came into their territory. But as time went on, conflicts of their cultures and languages seemed to encourage a detrimental effect in how they viewed each other.
So, the feelings were mutual.
Absolutely, from what it looks like at least. Mexicans did not have any ill feelings against the Americans until they started overstepping their boundaries. An overwhelming amount of immigrants started pouring onto their soil, like a monsoon.
Excellent reference, Greg. Don't forget the issues concerning the ever so argumentative slave topic. When the Mexicans became independent, they outlawed slavery. Now the American settlers had this tendency to disobey the particularly powerful issue. This provided for a massive clash between the Americans and the Mexicans.
Wow, how could I forget that? The American settlers refused to adhere to the shifting governmental policies, and they were very prone to continue to follow the American policies on Mexican soil, which undoubtedly infuriated the Mexicans.
Undoubtedly. Even though the Mexican government made the American settlers pledge their loyalty to the Mexican government, ultimately, the loyalty remained in line with the United States government.
Now, we'll take a short recess from this rigorous examination process to see how the weather's like.
Good call, good call. Now to our good friend Dwight Comden. How's the weather?
Hey guys, I'm Dwight Comden, and I'm here to tell you about the weather. If you live in Texas, you already know it's pretty hot and dry out there. But for all you who don't live in Texas, you all know it's pretty hot and dry out there. But down on this South Gulf Coast, you got that Gulf Stream up there, so it's a little bit moist. But pretty much it's hot and dry out there, so you just gotta get used to it.
Thanks, Dwight.
Yes, thanks, Dwight. Before I move on, we'd like to offer a brief intro to what we will see shortly.
Yes, well said. Meanwhile, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna abolished local rule and set up a dictatorship with him holding the reins in 1835. When this happens, Texans respond. They declare their independence.
Establishing their own government.
Right you are. Well, with this concise introduction, we will now show you very rare footage of Santa Anna after his capture at San Jacinto.
Do you remember the Alamo?
Yes, I remember it as you people call it. 400 Texans. I killed about 1,500 out of 4,000 men I brought. It really showed Texan determination. They fought so hard. I had to plan a night attack while they were sleeping. We killed them all. Every single one, wounded and all. They had nothing left to fire and used the butts of their rifles and knives. Your famous David Crockett. He was one of the last groups. He was seeking refuge in the chapel. We gave them a little honor. We didn't cremate the bodies. Because if we did that, we wouldn't resurrect. And then, later at the Goliath, I did the same thing and killed them all. Even though they surrendered. Some may say that's bad, but it's the way I did it.
Well, what about the Battle of San Jacinto?
Yes. I'm in this stinking prison because of that battle. Sam Houston called me. Darn him. Them Texans fought very bravely. We fell in just 18 minutes. What a pathetic loss. Now I'm sitting here while part of my nation is branching off. Texas, I miss you. I can't believe this.
Very interesting stuff there, Greg. But even after Texas was recognized as an independent state, it then wanted to become part of the USA due to its high American presence.
Yeah, but from what I know, America refused to do it. At that time, due to our not wanting to be involved in an unnecessary war with Mexico, and we didn't want to have an unequal amount of, slave states and free states.
Precisely! Texas was eventually admitted as a state by Polk's administration, right? This was due to the fact that another foreign country could possibly dominate Texas once more, that it could help fulfill manifest destiny by adding a vast quantity of land, bringing the frontier even closer to the Pacific. Once again, I'm Krishna Kauta.
And I'm Greg Ganser.
Stay classy, Valbrazer.